Welcome everybody, it's Telem, and in this video we are going to be talking about this new loading screen we got for Ascension. This loading screen is absolutely insane because we've seen this loading screen before. Like I said, this is a remake of the Ascension loading screen, but it looks pretty interesting, and we'll talk about why I think they may be releasing this remake of it very soon, because we already know they released a remake of the Nuketown's loading screen, which was interesting in itself. But let's actually just talk about what we see on this first. So all the way to the left we actually see Dr. Monty, and we can obviously tell this is Dr. Monty by his scarf and what he's wearing and just pretty much how he looks. And we could actually see him in this area, this really bright area, which is obviously awkward for the zombie storyline because we don't ever play in these bright areas because this mode's supposed to be dark in the first place, so it kind of makes sense. But mainly we actually see him drawing something out, this blueprints looking thing, and if I had to guess, I would believe these are actually the blueprints or the paper scraps we got from the giant, and I'll have them on screen now, and as you guys can see, they're pretty similar. Well, they at least look similar. So we already know Dr. Monty's the one who drew this thing up because we see his signature at the bottom right corner of this image, but what it is, and we still really don't know what it's all about, because we see the KM44 inside the summoning key and all these different like universes I guess they were kind of going for, because I would say universes even though they kind of look like solar systems, but I say universes because that's how Richtofen in his paper scraps was showing that they were universes, but that's besides the point. We still just really don't know what this is all about, this paper scrap from the giant, but now we can actually see where he's drawing. I'm not too sure if this is actually important, but it is nonetheless very cool to actually see him actually drawing it. It's actually pretty interesting why he's actually using a feather to actually write his signature on it, and of course I'm guessing that's he writing his signature because he has his hand on the same place where his signature is. But anyways, it's pretty interesting. So the next part is actually looks pretty similar to the original, but it's actually closer. It's a kind of zoomed up on the rockets, and I'll do a comparison just a second from how the old one compared to this one, especially at this part. But we can actually see these three rockets, but the shadows no longer make the 115 in the shadows, so it's kind of interesting that they actually took that off. But it is even more interesting that the rockets aren't exactly the same rockets. These are the rockets from Rocket. Not only can we tell by the actual shape of the rockets, but we also see the dragon logo. I'll zoom up on it for you guys so you guys can actually see that there's actually a dragon logo on the rockets now that we saw inside the Rise of the Rocket. So these are actually the rockets from the Rise of the Rocket now. Now I'm not too sure if they're saying that these were always the rockets from the Rise of the Rocket or something else, but also we see instead of the normal blueprints we had, we actually see the dragon blueprints that we got inside Zetsubo no Shima, I believe. I'll have an image showing you guys what exactly we saw inside Zetsubo no Shima. So the bottom one, which I'll probably just be showing anyways, just to have side-by-side comparison, is just similar to that. I'm not too sure why that's actually there, because it does seem like they're implying that the rockets are in the Rise of the Rocket, which there are dragon heads there, but there were never any blueprints for the dragons or anything like that, because that was a Division 9 thing, and then Group 9, they gave it to Group 935 to fight in Stalingrad, which is weird why they'd be doing that. But anyways, it's really cool nonetheless. But the next one, this one is probably the most like, what is happening here for me, because we see these gobblegums, and it's kind of funny how their little glows kind of look like eyeballs, but that's besides the point. But we see this gobblegum machine right here, but we also see a face in the background, and this face actually looks pretty similar to someone we've seen before, if you guys haven't noticed already. So I'm going to actually show you the image of this person, and of course it's Samantha from the house. So this isn't the original Samantha, but this is the child Samantha from the story that we've been inside recently. So it's pretty interesting why they're doing this, and you can tell me if you guys actually think that's Samantha or not. Some people are saying it's not, but to me it actually pretty much seems like Samantha. It looks pretty similar, especially when I saw them side by side. But why would she actually be looking at this gobblegum machine? Because I thought the gobblegums were only in areas like that Monty would put them for we could fight against the zombies. Maybe in Revelations this is actually being shown, because she was there, but shouldn't she have been in the house? It's really weird why she would even be anywhere near these. It is also very awkward that she's actually green and has a green glow around her. I'm not too sure what that's all about, and besides that I can't really tell anything else from this image, but it's so interesting what's happening here. I really am at a loss for words of this one. And of course the last one, instead of having the scientist, we actually have a keeper looking like he's like going through one of the portals that teleport people, because we do hear about this in the Rise of the Rocket, which is actually pretty interesting, because in the Rise of the Rocket there's a cipher saying that they found some beings that can travel through space without the aid of teleporters. Well, I think it was space and time, but anyways, it is kind of weird that they would say that and have the Rise of the rockets right here, so maybe they want people to make the connection there. But that would also imply that the image we've seen before, that person that was there was actually traveling through time and space just like the keepers are, except the keepers are probably doing it intentionally. Let's actually do a comparison from the original one to this one. As you guys can see, instead of Dr. Monty, we had this guy right here in his glasses and his suit and everything. And I want to actually show you guys something people were kind of connecting this guy to. So in the same comic books, if you guys haven't read it yet, but the same comic book issue number 2, we see this scientist that looks like he's maybe in the same area as this scientist we see right here. I'll just have the image showing you where it is and you guys can decide what you think from there, but it's pretty interesting. And I'll just decide to point out, but really people have just been assuming that maybe this is Yuri for the longest time from Ascension that we hear the radios from, but we're still not sure at this point. Anyways, of course, the rockets, they're different ones, and we have a less zoomed in image of the rockets too, and they also spell 115 unlike the new one. And then the blueprint inside this one was actually for the landing pads from Ascension, but now it's for the dragons. And this is the one that's only changed a lot. So right here we see a jail cell or something like that, and it's an empty jail cell, but we don't know that much about it or why this is even being shown to us, because I don't believe even in Ascension we got an explanation for this. But it's kind of weird how this one was the only one that was drastically changed, because this has nothing to do with the image we have in the original one, because now we have Samantha looking at a gobblegum machine, whereas if we look all the way to the left, we had at least somebody looking in front of a table, so it's kind of similar. Then we had the rockets again, we had different blueprints, but they were still blueprints. And of course all the way to the right, which we'll get to in just a second, they just changed the person who was there. But this is the only one that was changed drastically, because it's just a completely different image now. I don't know if that has any importance, but I decided to point it out. And of course the last one, they traded off this guy that we don't know, maybe Gersh, because we know inside Ascension what happened to Gersh. He was kind of teleported and turned into that weird glowing orb, or was it? But I forget what they actually call inside the story, but anyways, that's what happened. But now it's kind of weird that they're actually showing a keeper now, so it makes me not believe that this is actually Gersh anymore in the original one, because Gersh was turned into that weird orb thing that we see inside Gorod Krovi, which it doesn't seem like the keeper at least turn into those from what we've heard. But anyways, it's pretty interesting nonetheless. But that's about it for actually breaking down this thing and comparing to the original one. So I want to actually talk about why they would maybe want to actually do this. So by doing this, by releasing a remade image of a loading screen we've seen before, just like we saw what they did inside the Nuketown loading screen, people are saying that maybe after the comic book series is done, or anytime this year, we're going to get a DLC 5 with all the remastered maps with new story to them, which would be absolutely amazing. Really, we'd have new story to these remastered maps. Just imagine that would be amazing. But I don't want to get everyone too hyped up like what happened with the super Easter egg. That was awkward, but anyways, it'd be super cool nonetheless. So that's one idea. Maybe they're just teasing, maybe they'll actually use this stuff inside the, oh, I forgot to mention, they also released a remastered moon loading screen, so there's that one too. But there's a bunch of other reasons they could be doing this. That's just one of the main ones that gets me the most hyped for. But anyways, if you guys have any ideas for any of these, go ahead and tell me down in the comments. Also, if I did miss anything inside this, go ahead and tell me that also down in the comments. But if you guys did enjoy this video, go ahead and thumbs up. If you guys want to stay tuned for more content similar to this, go ahead and subscribe. But I'm going to go, and I will catch you guys on my next video.